Item E, Building and Grounds Committee minutes from the June meeting. Item F, the Planning Commission minutes from the June meeting. G is your zoning administrator's report. Personnel Committee did not meet. Item I is the Elections Commission. Those minutes are in your packet. Item J is the Fire Department report, which you have in front of you at your table. Item K, ZBA did not meet. Under new business, we have item A, opening of sealed bids to repair and replace sidewalks throughout the township. Item B is opening of sealed bids for the weekly collection and disposal of trash and 3 leaf dumpsters for a 3-year period commencing July 1st, 2024. Item C is consideration of approval of the 2023-2024 sewer rate resolution. Item D is consideration of approval in the amount of $7,800 fire department. If there's no changes to the meeting agenda for tonight, we need a motion for approval.
I so move. I'll support.
Motion by, was that Dean?
Yep.
Okay, Dean Cruz, and support by Hachinsky. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Under the consent agenda for tonight, we have item A is the minutes of the regular board meeting held on June 4th. Item B is the monthly financial report. Item C is approval of the Township General Fund expenditures, which includes the fire department, and that includes checks numbered 41602 through 41695. Accounts payable total $58,563.08. Payroll total $16,905.46 for a grand total of $75,468.54. Item D is approval of the water department expenditures. Those include checks numbered 3252 through 3270, totaling $55,390.76. Item E is approval of the sewer operating expenditure, check number 1237 through 1241. And those total $4,382.56. Item F is approval of the monthly ACH payments to the state of Michigan and the IRS in the amount of $6,302.04. Again, if there's no changes to the consent agenda, I would entertain a motion for approval.
I so move. I'll support.
Motion by Kolonuski, second by Brian Cruz to approve the consent agenda for tonight. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And we have public comment, and we have a gentleman here who would like to speak with us about the library.
Let me brought a little bit of information with me. I'm Ralph Mortensen. I'm on the Board of Trustees of the County Library. And what we've been doing over the past few months is visiting different townships around the county just to deliver an annual report, talk a little bit about what the library has been doing, and also to talk with folks in different corners of the county about those kinds of things that they're looking for. A couple of sort of basic things that I wanted to mention just because they're not always something that's kind of public knowledge. First of all, one of the issues that we sometimes run into is people may have, and this may be you or somebody in your family or somebody you know, one of those library items that maybe you just kind of forgot about for one reason or another, that's maybe been sitting there gathering dust, and you're beginning to wonder a little bit about, well, what's the fine going to cost? Several years ago, we did away with all library fines. So if you were worried about, or somebody you know was worried about having an item that was going to cost you more than your car payment, not true. Second, one of the other services we're providing, which has been very popular, is we do have tech tutoring. And so if you don't happen to have a 10-year-old around your house, or your idea of rebooting your computer is whacking it on something hard, we have an alternative for you. You can set up some time with the main library branch, and talk with Kirsty Treater, who's been an excellent tech tutor. Another couple things that I think are noteworthy, we do have a new director as of December, and we had the good fortune of being able to promote from within. So Julie Cerrone is the director, who was the previous assistant director of the library. We're just really pleased to have her in the position. We also have a lot of programming coming up this summer, so we've kicked it off a few weeks ago, and we have about 100 different programs that will be featured in the various branches around the county. So if you're someone who likes to get involved in that, or have family members who do, we encourage you to. We also have a great little tool I was not familiar with before I joined the board, something called the Launchpad, which is actually a small computer pad that is preloaded with lessons for kids, preschool and single digits. If there's some type of learning they'd like to do, be it math, be it spelling, be it hand-eye coordination, we've got a number of different kinds of things of that nature available. And we also have a new website, so if you have gone to the old website and found it a little bit frustrating, like my wife did, it's really good to have the option to go in there now. It's much easier to navigate, and we're very pleased with the way that the thing functions. Beyond that, a question I always raise in any of my visits, are there things that any of you are aware of people are looking for from the library that they're not getting? Or something you'd like to see a little bit more of?
Anyone?
You're doing it all.
Okay, well, if we do appreciate any suggestions and feedback that you have. It's a very active board. We've really been trying to make sure that we are getting out and talking with folks in the larger community. I also have copies of the annual report if you gentlemen would like it. Do that. We're going to pass that along. And then, the other thing I want to make sure before I forget, August 6th ballot, we do have a request for a millage renewal. It's not a new millage, but it's simply maintaining the current level of funding that we have. And so if you have to hear anybody talking about that, it's not an increase in taxes. It's really kind of keeping everything at the same level. But just appreciate the chance to come visit you tonight. What we hope to do is do this on a more regular basis, because we realize it's too easy to kind of live within the borders of the city of Manistee, and it's a big county and a lot of different things happening. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the update. Any other public comment for tonight? This time, okay. Then moving into communications and announcements, you have in your packet the notice of the hearing for DTE Gas. And item B, the US 31 Manistee reconstruction notice for the public input meeting, which will be held at the MHS High School, Middle School on Tuesday, July 23rd from 4 to 6. I know Tom Steggy told me he was going to be going to that meeting, even though it's the primary purpose of that is just to kind of educate the public on what the plans are and to receive input from the public. There will be follow-up meetings with the township, and I thought I had the printout here, but I think I've got it in my calendar for, yes, on July 17th, we'll be meeting here at the hall at 10 o'clock from 10 to 11:30. MDOT will be meeting with us, and that'll be an opportunity for us to provide some direction and input in terms of what we would like, what our wish list consists of. And I've got some things started, probably half a dozen or 8 roughly things to include or to recommend. So as you think about this project, and it's a once in our lifetime project, so it's an opportunity we want to take advantage of for the township to get everything done that we can get done. So give it some thought and put that in your calendars. I'll get more notice out to you probably via email. Okay, and then the Item C is the update that Joe sent the other day on well 4, and he called yesterday and asked if we'd like him here, and he thought it'd be a good opportunity if you have questions. I know you haven't had much time to peruse that, but if you take a couple minutes and look at that, and if you've got some questions that come to mind, thoughts, concerns, it'd be a good time to raise them. But I think maybe to start with, I'll have Joe just, if you'd step up, Joe, and just give us a brief review of that information that you sent us.
Yeah, so essentially it's what came out of the report that we submitted to the state for the grant funding, and it's essentially a direct replacement of well 3. There's some allowances for additional capacity without having to go through hydraulic and geological analysis, and given the location of the well and the fact that you put a new one in, the limit is to increase by about 70 gallons per minute. And then you can stay out of having to do adverse resource impact assessment, which is draining of wetlands or streams, which isn't a concern in this area where the well is located. But if you can avoid those reviews, the process is much faster. So the well is, we're asking to increase the capacity by 70 gallons per minute. And it would still be, it'd be a very similar output to well number 4 that's in the park. And it would increase your...
Well 2 in the park.
Or well 2 in the park, I'm sorry. Well 4 is over at Madison.
Yeah.
Or Kennedy, no.
Madison.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess it is Kennedy. I can't keep up.
I'm still...
Yeah.
I'm still in the 90s.
Renamed it, yeah. Anyway, the well over here.
Yeah.
They renamed that Kennedy?
I think they did.
That's what the sign said
I
last time I
thought
went past.
Kennedy, they renamed, it's on 6th Street.
I'm pretty sure the sign says Kennedy.
6th Street? That's Madison.
Yeah, that's what it's on.
It's the old Madison.
The old Madison.
What we know as Madison.
Yeah, so your firm capacity, which is the capacity to produce water for the public if you take your largest well out of service, which is well number 4 at Madison. So you would increase your capacity by about 70 gallons per minute. But you are good on the projections for future growth and the capacity that you have. So that's a comfortable number to be putting in, because the 20-year projection is still underneath your firm capacity. So right now it's in Eagle's hands to review and give us the go-ahead to get a test well driller in and install a well, and then they would do some pump down tests and review the pump down tests and take samples from it and move towards installing that as a production well. So I had some conversations with Kevin on what exactly they needed in order to keep the process moving forward, and it's not a very streamlined permitting process, because this doesn't happen all that often. So it's more working with Eagle alongside them from here on out.
Joe, what do you anticipate, or can you anticipate how long it may be for Eagle to review and give the go-ahead to put a test well in?
Well, because there's an existing well on site that's been in production for a long time, they've got good data on what it produces in water quality and all that. And because it's a replacement well, you remove a lot of the underground studies that they do, which is looking at the stratum and the bore logs around the area for confinement. So you can step away from that some, and they may or may not, it's up to them, say yes or no. So there's some exceptions with the location, and that's the location of the septic tank for the township hall and the neighbor on the other side. They're within the 200-foot separation area that they'd like to see for municipal wells, but this well is a confined well in the aquifer. So as you drill down, there's a pretty thick clay layer that's down there about 50 or 60 feet. So what they look at is, okay, with those drain fields in the area, when they go down, they're going to drain down 50 feet, hit the clay, and run towards Manistee Lake and not towards the well that's in service here, which goes down through to a depth of 218 feet and draws from a source of water that is separated by about 20 feet of clay. So as far as like water quality goes, there's not many issues, but in the last 10 years, since they've had some water quality issues in municipalities, they're taking a harder look at that. So some of the exceptions need a little higher level of review. So I'm not sure exactly how long that will take from them, but Kevin didn't seem to think that there'd be any reason not to, because of the existing well that does produce water for the community that's been in service. I think it was the 60s when it was installed. I have the well log here. Yeah, it was 1960 when that well was installed. So it's been producing water for quite some time. And then plans to use existing infrastructure that we can and upgrade what's inside the building, new well pump, motor, generator on natural gas, so you have backup when the power goes out, and some of the dosing equipment for the treatment. Bring all that up to some sort of standard, but try to save some costs by utilizing the existing building that's there. And then as a contingency plan, Terry and I have had some conversations where well site 4 over at Madison is another site that could be utilized, and something to talk about would be pursuing getting easement of some sort from the schools to in the future install a well there at that location, particularly well number 2, which is a very small piece of property that's surrounded by quite a number of houses. So within that 200-foot radius, there's probably 10 septic tanks instead of 2. So sometime in the future, if another well needs to get drilled, like as we're working through this process, and going to be here and have surveyors who are going to be coming to town anyways, like drop some documents to have those discussions and plan for the future.
And following through on that, I did have initial discussions with Howard Voss, the business manager at MAPS. It's been some time ago, I want to say probably at least 8 months ago, I gotta believe. And then he spoke with Ron Stoneman, the superintendent, and then we emailed a little bit back and forth, and they were receptive to getting together and having some discussion, starting discussion about that. And I kind of left it at that point that we wanted to find out where we were at on this site. But I think, with your approval, I think it would be good for us to have those discussions and try to obtain an easement or obtain another 2 acres, whatever we might need there for a new well. In the event Eagle doesn't approve this location, then we're going to need it. But even if we don't need it immediately, at some point, well 2 is going to have to be replaced. The kind of money and work we've put into that well the last 5-6 years, that's going to have to be replaced. And when it does, then we'll definitely need a new location, because we need to cap that well when it expires and have that completely a park and not a combination well and park. So if the board is okay with it, I would like to initiate some discussions with MAPS, and I would like to have at least one other board member sit in on those discussions with me. So give it some thought and let me know. I guess first I would ask, if you're thinking along the same line as me, that we should go ahead and begin these discussions now rather than later, or if there's opposition to that or concerns about it.
Well, I think I agree with you. I think we ought to go ahead and look at it, talk to them and see what we can do.
If you need a motion to do that, I'll make the motion that we go into conversation with the MAPS to see if we can purchase or acquire some property.
Is there a second to that
I'll
motion?
support that.
Okay, so we have a motion by Achinsky, a second by Brian Cruz to enter into discussions with Manistee Area Public Schools about acquiring some additional property near well 4 for a future well site. Any other discussion on that? Okay, you got that, Shirley? Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So I will contact, I'll probably contact Howard Voss because most of my discussion was with him, and we'll set something up in the, at some point, probably within the next month, based on their availability, and then I'll keep you all updated on it, and like I said, I would like to have somebody else, at least one other, sit in on that. And I thought maybe about Tom Steggy as our treasurer might be a good one to sit in on it, but also an additional trustee, if any of you are interested, just let me know. So, do any of you have questions for Joe?
I do. My concern is if we do another well here, and my concern is that plume that could be coming from the East Lake area. Let's face it, Martin Marietta must have had their own well, and it got contaminated. And I gotta believe, being a factory, they were down there pretty good when they got contaminated. I don't think that was a 100-foot or 150-foot well. I gotta believe it would have been deeper than that for a factory.
I can pull old
concern
well
is that
logs.
plume coming across that lake and contaminating 2 wells, on us.
Yeah. The site is well outside. There's a 2,000-foot radius where you look for sites of contamination for permitting of this well. And there's 2 closed underground leaking storage tanks that were old gas stations in the area that have been closed. Those sites are closed out. So there's no sites that could produce contamination within the required 2,000-foot zone of the well. Now, the site is almost directly across the lake, where the Martin Marietta, or the old PCA site is from the sludge ponds. That is an old Superfund site, and it did show up on the map, and I've made Eagle aware of it, just so that way they know, because these questions did come up. And they were going to look into the site and the hydraulics and the stratum that they know is there, because if that clay layer extends out beyond the lake, I mean, the lake's there for a reason, then it's probably very similar to the septic fields where that clay layer would prevent any contamination from getting down into the aquifer. The makeup of the wells over at Martin Marietta, I did see some of those in some well logs that I looked at that were on the Eagles website, so I can look at those again to see what depth they drilled those to and when they were closed or if they are closed. So in my discussions with Eagle, I did bring it up.
And I think that's a legitimate concern, and it would be good to know, get answers to those questions, as well as what the flow direction is.
Correct.
Because I know in discussions I had with a gentleman who used to be on the East Lake board, and they had thought about putting a township or a village well in. This was, I don't know if it was back in the 60s or whatever, and they, I believe he told me it was a test well that came up really bad. And it was from that.
Yeah, and some of it may be the groundwater migration. If it's going to take 200 years to get over here, well, your well's probably going to be not usable by then and have to be replaced. So, and like so it's one of those, like, it's kind of a time thing, but also, like, will it even get over here?
You'll still be running for trustee, Tom.
Pardon?
You'll still be running for trustee 200 years from now.
180 years old.
Yeah.
But
so that's
yeah.
some of the factors that Eagle makes in determining, like, even with the septic tanks, like, how long would it take for anything that came out of there to get down and over to the well? So those are all considerations. And then something we can do for discussions with maps is we can produce easement documentation and exhibit, so that way you can go to them with something that would be well laid out and show them exactly what we're anticipating you would need.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So I can get our surveyor to work on that.
Okay, good. Anything else? Any other questions, concerns? Okay, thank you, Joe.
Hey, thank you. You guys have a good day.
Have a good Fourth.
Yeah, you too. Maybe I'll see you around.
Yeah. Okay, under department and committee reports, in your packet, you have the Operation Services Water Quality Report for 2023. Also on the table in front of you is their monthly client report. Item B is the sewer report from the city. Item C is the DDA minutes from the June 17th meeting, and also the director's report for July. Item E, the Building and Grounds Committee, those minutes from the June 17th meeting are in your packet. Item F is the Planning Commission minutes from the June 12th public hearing, and also the minutes from the regular Planning Commission meeting, which was held on the 12th also. Item G, you've got Bob's report, zoning administration report. And item I is the Elections Commission minutes from the June 25th meeting. And then in front of you, you've got the Fire Chief's report, monthly Fire Department report. Jim, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
Nothing to add to it. Those are some questions.
Anyone have a question? Okay, that
Just
takes,
so that you are aware, we are going to be applying for a revenue sharing grant request in the next round for a automatic CPR machine.
okay, I think you either mentioned that at last month's meeting, or I saw something on that, yeah.
There's been 3 occasions this month alone that we could have used that piece of equipment.
Okay. Okay, under new business, we have item A, the opening of sealed bids to repair and replace sidewalks in the township. I did contact, I had, I think, 8 people on my call list, and actually spoke with about 5 of them. I had one that said he was going to get me a bid, did not. 2 others that were not interested. And then I had 2 that I met with and went around and showed them what we were looking at. And the one was going to get me a bid the next day, and then he called me the next day and had changed his mind, declined. So we just got 1 bid. And that is from Kevin Vincent. And Kevin is with Confident Concrete out of Calava. And there's a total of about 200 feet of new sidewalk by 4-foot width. And he's got a price of $5,000 on that, and then removal of the old concrete, price of $4,000. And then I asked him to also take a look at extending concrete sidewalk to road intersections on Nelson Street. A lot of those intersections, sidewalk ends short of the street. And to do those, he's got a total bid of $6,875. And then, and that includes the new sidewalk and removal of sod. And that removal of sod is another $1,000, so he doesn't have this total, but that's $16,875 total.
Does that include those pads that we were required to put?
He does not have that in here, but I brought that up with him, and he said that he was gonna get a price on that. He said the last time, he hasn't put any of those pads in, it's been a couple of years since he's done that, but he said the last time he did, they were $100 for and I don't remember the dimensions, but he felt that that would do it. And he said they're probably up, they might be up to 125 or better at this point in time, but you know, we would need those on each side of the street then, so you know, probably looking at it would, I'm sure it'd be under $1,000 in addition in those pads, handicap.
Is he licensed and insured?
He is licensed and insured, and I do not, I'll have to get his copy of his insurance, but I asked him that, so. And I told him, you know, it kind of depended on where his bid came in. I asked him to break that down separately, the extension, sidewalk extensions, because I didn't know where he was going to come in on his bid. So, you know, my feeling is we can do all of that. The only concern I have is I want to make sure that there's at least one of those intersections I know where there's it's fairly steep coming down, and you got to stay within the code. I forget what the slope is, but he was aware of that, and he said, you know, you could probably work with that, but by the same token, I don't want, you know, I don't want to cut it down to get the slope we want and then have mounds on either side of sod, unless, you know, unless he can slope it down gradually and seed it and everything so that we don't have going on there what we have down here on Nelson with dirt and sand being washed down the sidewalk. So that's the total bid then.
How much do we have anything budgeted for sidewalks?
Yeah, I budgeted $20,000.
Oh, we're within the budget then.
Yeah, so it's within the budget.
I'll make a motion, we accept that bid then.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Brian Cruz and a second by Dean Cruz to accept the bid from Confident Concrete. Any other discussion?
I guess my concern, we should talk to the road commission and get them curves put in before we do the sidewalk. That'll add
Yeah.
to blending that together.
Yeah, and I've had that discussion with Brad Kuczynski, and I'm meeting with him on Friday this week.
Okay.
Because he wanted me to show him those spots, and along with a number of other, I've got a whole list of things for them, but
You
those are
can
two
use
of them.
24th and Nelson as an example of what they did, and that seemed to work out real good. So if
Yeah.
they do that same thing in
Yeah.
our other spots, will be good.
24th was what we had them do before?
That was 24th Street,
Okay,
the southwest corner of 24th.
okay. Because I know, I think we had two intersections there where we needed them to patch, and I think 23rd was one of them. I thought 24th was the other. It might be just the north side of
It
24th.
could be the north side.
Yeah, I've got it in my notes, so.
I think there might be 4 or 5 when you and I went around looking at the sidewalks.
I went back again and looked at them again, and the others looked okay. There was 2 that, there was, probably that much asphalt missing right on the curve, that we definitely, if we're gonna extend sidewalk there, we definitely want that taken care of, so. And when I spoke with Brad, I wanted to get input from him too, and, what's the better way to do it? Put the sidewalk in first and then have them do the asphalt, or the asphalt first, so I'll be meeting with him on Friday this week.
Can I amend that motion or add to it or clarify it? I want to just make the motion to accept that bid and to include $1,000 approximately for the pads.
Yeah,
Up
He
to
does-
1,000
Yeah, up to 1,000, we can always talk later if we need more.
for, what's the real name of these pads? What are they?
It's
they're
like a
handicap,
non-skid type pad that they have to put into the
Handicap.
cement.
Handicap pads?
they're rippled so
I
that,
don't think it's
somebody
a
that's
handicap.
blind or vision impaired can feel the transition, and that tells them they're coming to a street, there's no
An
intersection.
approach?
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
approach, yeah.
Now, that could be like for a blind person if they were.
Yeah.
That's what he just said.
Okay.
How do you feel with it?
We'll
Or-
call them that, approach pad.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, we ready to vote then?
Sure.
Shirley, you want to call the roll, please?
Kalinovsky,
Yes.
Brian Cruz.
Yes.
Ball, yes. Walker,
Yes.
Bachinsky,
Yes.
Dean Cruz.
Yes.
Okay, item B is opening of sealed bids for the weekly collection and disposal of trash, including 3 leaf dumpsters for a 3-year period commencing July 1st, 2024. It's not spelled out here, but it is in the contract. Also, the dumpster in Lagoon Creek is there. And this is just the basic, been working with Republic on this for the last week or so, and once everything was finalized from Republic and they sent it to us, I sent it to Richard for him to review. And yesterday, when I hadn't gotten anything back from him yet, I inquired, and so then he did send, I guess that was yesterday, he sent the concerns to Shirley and I that he had. And I had discussion then with AJ Johnson regarding those concerns, and a couple of them, he said he just, he didn't have any issue with removing it from the contract, and the others, he made provisions that we asked for. And anyway, it went back and forth today 3 or 4 times between he and I and Richard and I, and finally around 5 o'clock got everything, and that copy that I gave you, that's the whole,
The one that we would be.
yeah, the one that we would be approving all of the language on everything. What's in here is just the cost basis on that contract, and that shows for the first year of this contract, commencing this month, a total monthly cost of $14,046.16. or an annual price of $168,553.92. And then the second year and this is a 3-year contract, the second year, the monthly cost would increase just under $700. It'd be $14,744.27, which was about roughly a 5% increase. And then the third year, it increased roughly another $700 to $15,476.79 monthly. And also is included is the dumpsters, and the 30-yard roll-offs. We have 2 here and 1 at the Oak Hill Park. The first year, that cost is $226.56. And the second year would be $237.89, and the third year would be $249.79.
What are we paying now for the trash?
Look on your
13.
bills.
13 something.
Yeah,
13 something?
yeah.
The monthly.
That is a little misleading though, if you're probably looking at that sum total that could include the roll-offs over here. I think it's somewhere in the $12,000 a month.
Okay, so there's a
It's-
little increase.
13,457.
Yeah, that would probably include those
The-
containers here.
Yeah, because those containers are, they're in the neighborhood of $200 every time we have them
Yeah.
hauled off. And, you know,
So I mean, there's not much of a,
there's an increase the first year, you know, a pretty good increase the first year. But then, because like, yeah, right now we're at, what do you say, Jim? I've got the contract.
13,457 is what the cost was for them last month.
That's what we paid a check to them, but
Yeah.
that included something here, I'm sure.
You got a hold of Jim Berry today?
No, was he?
Oh, okay, then talk to me after the meeting
Okay.
about a check that didn't come through
From operations?
from us to, oh no, that was operations, I'm sorry, yeah, that
Yeah.
was operations service,
Well,
okay. never
I
mind.
turned that over to Tom.
Oh,
He was
okay.
going to check to see if that check
Okay,
was
all
paid.
right, all right, sorry, okay, so at any rate, yeah, this is, we're at around 13,000 monthly right now with Republic. I think it's 12 something is the base. And I know our roll-offs went up a little bit with this contract also because we were, I think now we're at 2 something, aren't we, Shirley? Every time they come get one of those 30-yard dumpsters.
That $13,000 check, what day was that from your report there? So I looked in the right spot there.
We didn't get any other bids?
No, I reached out to GFL again.
611.
No,
They must have some kind of agreement amongst themselves then.
well, I don't know what it is. I did have some discussion with GFL and he just trying to get information from them so he could do a
24.
report to the county on recycling. They wouldn't even let them in the plant up there.
There's everything you need to know.
when's our contract up?
The current one,
Last month.
yesterday,
Yesterday.
yeah. But the discussions I had with AJ, you know, a month ago, he said if we didn't have it in place, you know, they'll carry us. And my discussions today, I said, you know, I'd like to wrap it up for this board meeting, but if not, we could do an approval contingent upon, you know, a few items and get it done within a couple of weeks. Otherwise, do it at the August. He said either way, they'll carry us, you know, they're not going to discontinue service on us. And make it retroactive to July 1.
I'll make a motion, we accept the bids as presented.
I'll support it.
Does that include the one large item per month?
Yes, that's still in there.
It's in there.
Yeah, this check that went out to Republic was for $13,457.
I was just wondering, we're pretty much in line with the minimal increase, which is normal these days, so.
About 12,470 was the rate, base rate,
Monthly.
yeah.
And they had two items in there for increase in fees based on one, which has always been in the contract, based on gas increases. Our last 3-year contract was if the gas prices went over $4 per gallon, then there was going to be an adjustment in the cost. This one, it's jumping to $4.50 per gallon. If gas exceeds that, then there'll be an adjustment. And then they had another one in there. If their costs go up 15%, more than 15%, there's going to be an adjustment in the contract. And, you know, Richard questioned that and I questioned it. And so when I spoke with AJ, I said, give me an example of, you know, what might be a cost of yours that might go up. And he had a hard time coming up with an example. One thing he said that made sense was if employee costs went up. And so then I asked him, I said, well, are your employees in a union? And he said, no. And he says, I don't anticipate their cost. He said, we've got a good relationship with our team and we haven't had any issues at all and doesn't anticipate any. So.
Shirley, is our millage sufficient enough to go for the next tree?
We have, we don't levy garbage millage on its own anymore, it's just the 3 mills that we levy.
mills
And we
total.
divide that up proportionately the way we used to the fire and the garbage. So, yeah, we're covered. We need a
Okay,
second.
have a motion and a second.
Yeah, I've got a motion and a second. Who made the motion?
I made the
You
motion.
made the
Okay.
And
motion.
I second it.
Okay, so we have a motion by Brian Cruz and a second by Hachinsky to approve the bid presented by Republic Services. Any other discussion? Okay, Shirley, go ahead.
Kaczynski,
Yes.
Kalinowski,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Paul, yes, Brian Cruz,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes. Okay, item C is consideration of approval of the 2023-2024 sewer rate resolution. And you've got that in your packet. The city did increase their rates on their residents by 5% this year, and ours, our rate increase is based on whatever the city does. And I did speak with Ed Bradford a few weeks back, and they've already instituted those rates in the city, and so our 5% increase, that would be a 66 cents per thousand increase. It would take us to a new rate of $13.67. And then the billing administration fee, if you hit the same 5% there, that's an increase of 7 cents. And so that total usage fee that the city bills us would be increased by 73 cents. And the ready to serve charge, I had some discussion with Brian Sousa, our township engineer, regarding that, whether or not we should increase that rate this year or not. And we're charging $14.11 for the monthly ready-to-serve fee. And it was, we both kind of felt that if we increase that 5%, it's not really very significant in the big picture. And so we decided to just leave that the same at $14.11.
I'll make the motion, we approve the 2024, 2025 sewer rate resolution.
I'll second it.
Motion by Kolonowski, second by Dean Cruz to approve the 2024-2025 sewer rate resolution, which includes a 5% increase this year. Any other discussion? Okay, Shirley?
Ball, yes. Walker,
Yes.
Kaczynski,
Yes.
Brian Cruz,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Kolonowski.
Yes.
Okay, item D is consideration of approval in the amount of $7,843 to Accident Fund Group for the insurance premium for our firefighters.
This is everybody. Oh, wait,
Hold on now. We missed C.
we missed
We
C.
just did that.
That was a sewer rate resolution.
That sewer rate was D.
No, C. Let me see what you're looking at.
Okay, better look at me. Know what I got?
You've got something wacky here.
Yeah, I
What
know.
does yours look like?
Okay, well, disregard that. That's,
Yeah, I don't have an E.
no, okay.
I wonder if was this one that was sent out initially? Oh, that's a proof.
Okay.
So that,
Oh, he got a hold of
It's
the
changed.
proof.
How did I get that?
I don't know. I don't know. But give me my,
There, okay.
My
Disregard
finger.
that then.
yeah,
Okay. Sorry about that.
that's all right.
Let's see here.
Yeah, is that, I thought that was, what we talked about last month was for our
Provident, that's Provident for the fire department.
Oh,
This
okay.
accident fund is
Okay,
our workman's
okay.
comp.
Okay, yeah, that, and did we take care of that last month?
We did, I did.
Okay, all right, all right.
This
Okay, so
accident
this-
fund, this is coming up now, it's the
Covering
same as it
everybody.
was last year.
Same premium?
Same amount, yeah. And the
Wow.
audit will be on this, later on this month too, and then that'll be either we'll owe a little or we'll get a little back. you know, but
I'll
this
make
is
a
our-
motion, then we pay for that, that's stated.
And I'll second that motion. So we have a motion by Brian Cruz, second by Walker to approve the accident fund group insurance premium of $7,843. Any discussion?
What is on your, computer? Is it,
No, it's correct. It's correct on here.
because that's what was put on the website. All right.
You all set?
Shall we do one
You
of
wanna-
these?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, Walker,
Yes.
Kaczynski,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Kolonowski,
Yes.
Brian Cruz,
Yes.
Ball, yes. Okay.
Okay, public comment. Okay,
My neighbor's yard hasn't been cut yet.
and that,
Now grass is about
yeah,
armpit deep.
I did give that to Bob, and I've also sent that to the county for, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Blighted,
Probate or?
no, blighted structures. I've sent 3 properties to the county. They got some money to be able to do some of that in the city, and they used what they had, and they said there may be an opportunity to get some more funding, and so I sent those to the county and asked that if they get more funding, put these on the list, and I got a reply that
When I talked to Bob, he was concerned that it's in probate court and that he's not sure what the legal ramifications are being in probate, whether or not he's gonna be able to send anybody on that property to actually cut the grass.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to
I
get,
told myself, I can't believe that the court, any court is gonna stop or create a blighted structure by holding up something in court.
Jim, what is that address?
Pardon me?
The address of that?
1211, 23rd Street.
we can get legal interpretation on that. You know, as soon as Bob's back in the office, I'll have that discussion. Well, I don't think I'll wait for him. I think I'll call either Tim or Richard and ask how can we handle this? Because that's what
Like I
was
said,
told.
it's starting to grow, he's starting to grow trees off the roof now.
Yeah, well, and you don't, you know, for somebody to go in there and try and cut it too, you don't know what's hidden in the grass now. And
Well, right now, there's baby deer bedded down in the front yard. That's how long the grass is.
yeah,
So we got baby deer bedded down right there right now. So,
Shirley gave me that pen, would you please?
That one? Or do you want-
No, yeah, thanks.
The neighbor across the street, they must have got the word because they actually cut their grass twice and they've
Yeah.
hauled out the abandoned vehicle that was in the driveway. They had the wrecker come and get that and haul it out, and they've actually cleaned up the yard. So I'm not sure what happened there, but somebody must have said something to somebody.
Yeah, I know there've been some that I've turned in to Bob, and then before
Well, I
he
saw
sent
you
letters
the other day, I
out.
was talking about it
It's
about
cut.
then, and that's when.
Yeah. So the word has gotten around a little bit. There have been some cut that haven't received their letters yet, so, but I will, I just made a note to give Richard a call on that. Yeah,
And again, I don't know that it's still tied up in probate court. I mean, it's been 3 years.
yeah,
I mean, is it or not? That's what I'm being told.
yeah, well, and I've been told the same thing, so
So,
I'm sure they can find out.
'cause I haven't seen hide or hair of anybody around that place. So,
Right. And from what I understand, what I was told too is there was a water line break in the house. And so the basement filled with water, so I gotta believe there's probably a good chance of black mold in there now
Oh, yeah.
and everything else.
And it's starting to smell.
Yeah,
With the heat and stuff, it's starting to smell.
yeah.
And I'm
That's something Joe mentioned.
catching critters left and right out of my garage, my backyard. One track of skunk that was in my backyard. I found the hole came from the neighbors. You know, I buried chicken wire and everything else underneath my fence trying to keep the animals out, so.
Yeah, we've seen an increase in skunks that night through the
I mean, I
whole.
even got a possum.
Well, I see more possums in my yard now.
So I've trapped possums, coons, skunks, chipmunks, squirrels.
And an increase in chipmunks lately too. They could be coming from right there.
Okay,
That's not that far away.
Thank you.
yes, yeah, and I'll let you know what I find out. Anything else to come before the board tonight? Dean, do you have anything else?
No.
Dale?
I was wondering, is the road commission gonna cut their right of ways this year along the roads? Because they're
They've
as
been
high
cutting.
They have
done
been
it.
cutting them,
They have been?
yeah.
I haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did Murky
Oh, did they?
last
Okay.
week.
Maybe
They did
just
Tyler
haven't
City
done it.
Hill.
They did Tyler
Okay.
City Road, the hill down
Okay,
here.
they're pretty high in
Yeah.
some spots, okay.
They had the tractor parked by the credit union for a couple of days.
Yeah,
Oh, so no, so-
yeah, they've been actually, I wanna say probably 3 weeks ago when I talked with Brad Kuczynski about some other stuff and wanted some other things done, he said he had all his guys busy
Yeah.
cutting and brining, so.
I think they were late doing it though.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
they got
okay.
started late, yeah,
Right,
they
that's
did.
all I have.
Shirley, you got anything else? Brian,
Nothing.
Tom?
That Wildwood, it looked like they extended a little bit of gravel and there was still
They-
a little bit. There's still washout
Yeah.
after we had that
Yeah.
5 inches of rain. so-
Yeah, that's one of the things on my list, and